A first game against Gabon. No, before we go to the playoffs, Bolu, your thoughts on the performance of the players in the game on Tuesday.
First off, that was Super Eagles. What we've been seeing is what people call super chickens. What we've been seeing is guys who just want to be there. I think we spoke about it last week that didn't these guys want to go to the World Cup themselves? By 2030, all these guys, if not most of them at least, will be out of their prime. But see what we saw against Benin Republic. I think the early goal changed the entire atmosphere of the match. They went for it. They knew they needed 4 goals because 3-0 would have been impressive from the Super Eagles, but it would not be enough to take them through to the playoff. They got the late goal, 4-1. We saw a Super Eagles where the wingers were crossing into the box for the strikers to get the goal. I said to myself, how come these guys have not been crossing in? Their inversion is not inverting.
Yes.
Send the balls to the big men up front and see what they did. There was a bit of a change.
I saw a more matured Samuel Chukwueze in that fixture.
Chukwueze,
he didn't do too much. He didn't do too much. No, Moses Simon was still in his own normal shenanigans. He is in the first half and even in the second half. But Chukwueze just did the basics. And it was perfect.
Crossing the ball, they got the assist for the 2 games. Another man who deserves credit, Alexi Wobi, also did the basics in the midfield. No overdo. Talk about the right back, Benjamin Frederick as well. Shemi Ajayi confirmed what many of us have been saying for a while. His composure is mature.
The composure, the balance it brings to the defense.
It felt like this was a reborn Super Eagles. But the question is, will he continue with them? Because I'm more worried for even our first match, Gabon, whatever happens after. But again, let's savor the moment. Let's enjoy it all through the week. My shows on radio, I kept on playing Generation song. So we will talk about playoff later, but for what they did on Tuesday, I never expected it. I thought when people said we needed over 3 goals, I said to myself, let's just win at least for pride. But they got the first, got the second, got the third. We needed the fourth. The coach made some substitution, which I thought this didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But in the end, the goal still came, and now they're in the playoff. So let's see what happens then. But for the game, and against Guinea-Bissau, that one alone sent a message across Africa that maybe Super Eagles are back.
Brave, your thoughts on that fixture?
Well, I thought it was a good fixture. I've not seen the Super Eagles perform this well in a long while. When was the last time they scored 4 goals?
Wow, that's a long time.
It's been a while we played this kind of football, but it shows you that when you are determined, when the Super Eagles want to play, they come out
very seriously.
But yesterday, what can I say about Victor Osimhen? It goes to show you that he wanted it.
Yeah.
He wanted it and he got it. Speaking to what Samuel Chukwueze did on Tuesday, I have not seen Samuel Chukwueze perform this well
for the Super Eagles in a long time.
In a very long while. He was decisive. He didn't do too much.
Yes.
He did the basics. Get the ball. Look at the first goal.
Yes.
Look at the assist for the first goal. He got the ball.
Yes.
One time pass to Osimhen, who was running into the channel. He got the right spot. Boom. The second goal, another fantastic cross by Samuel Chukwueze. And it just reminds you of the under 17 days,
yes.
Right? You know, they share
the
very
synergy,
good bromance.
Yes.
The synergy, the bromance between the both of them. It looks very impeccable. It looks fantastic. What can I say about Shemi Ajayi? Like Bolu said, it looks very composed. And his combination with Calvin Bassey made a lot of sense. And to my favorite Super Eagles player at the moment, Benjamin Frederick. Playing out of position at right back. He looked really, there was a point in the game.
Yes.
He lost possession and he immediately
he covered up for
it. And that is what we're talking about. This is to tell you that if the Super Eagles of Nigerian players have decided to play football with all the determination that is required, they will be very, very unbeatable. But then the question is, why did we have to leave it late?
This late.
We left it late to the point where it was almost irredeemable for Nigeria. We have no business being in this position, Matthew. You look at Lesotho, you look at Zimbabwe. People can talk about the fact that there are no minnows
in African football. Those guys are minnows compared to the Super Eagles.
These are things that we should ordinarily roll past, but we find out. Imagine, out of those 5 draws that we recorded, if we had one
of those games, we would have qualified on 19 points.
Easily.
We have qualified on 19 points.
It's just
the game against Zimbabwe we drew in Uyo. I think that game just played us to the playoffs.
Yep. It was one of our biggest undoing, and it's just so sad. But moving on, we look forward to the game against Gabon in November. It means that now we are taking the longer route
to qualify. Yes. Now let's talk about the game against Gabon. Remember, the qualifiers, the playoffs kickstart on the 13th of November. and it will once again be played in Morocco. Bolu, your thoughts? Nigeria builds up against, ahead of that, first game, a semi-final game against Gabon. And there has been this talk about Aubameyang and his form for the national team.
It's fun for everywhere. Since he's left Arsenal, he felt like he's picked himself up for club and country. And his last game, he scored 4 goals. They won 4-3. He scored the 4. And people are saying suspect. People have this mindset that the Premier League rules the world.
Yeah.
That thing of you get a red card, you miss 3 games. It only happens in the Premier League. Even the Premier League, it's not every time. It depends on the tackle. So Aubameyang has served his punishment. It was their final qualifying match. So he's going to be available against Nigeria. It's not a battle of Aubameyang versus Victor Osimhen.
Yeah.
We know what to expect from Osimhen without any doubt. Aubameyang will he live to the billion? I'm more worried for Gabon than even if we win, whoever we meet in the final. But it's a game where you expect them to continue from where they left off. You can't go from the momentum of beating a Benin Republic.
Yes.
4-0, then drop the bar. You know, there are some, I tell you will lose some games that people say applaud.
Yes, yeah.
You give your heart out, not the one that you win and people like Ilogba.
Yes.
So I hope they do well against Gabon. The route, I don't know which one is harder. Maybe the African or the Intercontinental. At least this is the first stage. Play well against Gabon, win against Gabon. Then whoever comes between DRC and Cameroon, win that one. Then we can talk about the Intercontinental. But one thing is sure. Whatever friendly match NFF has agreed for November
is nullified.
Cancelled automatically.
Yes, we're looking at Gabon, DR Congo, Cameroon, and Nigeria, the 4 teams. And one of these teams would qualify for the Intercontinental playoffs. Your take and the kind of mentality that is needed for the Super Eagles going into this stage of the qualifiers.
For us to go to the World Cup, we need mentality. A very, very strong mentality. And this is one thing we have lacked in most of the games we've played in the qualifying series. You look at how shambolic we were against Zimbabwe, how lethargic we were against Rwanda and the host of other teams.
We struggled against Lesotho.
We struggled against Lesotho as well. So if we mean business, we need to have that mentality that, look, 80% of this team has never played at the World Cup. Now, Matthew, imagine a situation where Victor Osimhen definitely goes ahead to break Rashidi Yekini's goal scoring record. Without going to the World Cup. It's a big dent. It's a big slap on the talent and everything he has given to Nigerian football for him not to be at the World Cup. Now, it is no longer business as usual. They need to realize that we put ourselves in this position and we have got to make amends. A level of seriousness had to be applied to this. No shenanigans. Now we need to be serious with ourselves. And Sterling Wabali, something has to be done.
Done, yes.
Look, I don't know if if he's still reeling from the death of his mom and his dad.
I don't understand.
But I think something needs to be done.
I also saw him in that game on Tuesday pushing his captain. He pushed Ndidi on the head. And he was trying to call his attention to...
And to be frank, Matthew, be frank, let's be honest. Benin scored a valid goal.
Yeah.
That's in the Premier League would have stood. It wasn't a free kick.
Yeah.
It wasn't a goal kick.
Goal kick.
So why toss the ball to the ground?
Why toss the balls to the ground? Yes.
And expect them to wait for you like it's a goal kick.
Yes.
So somebody needs to speak to Wabali. Maybe get a psychologist. Maybe he needs to sit on the bench.
Sit on the bench for a while. That's my thought.
The last time I saw Wabali give his best was at the African Cup of Nations.
Ever since we've been seeing a very high level of complacency.
His level of complacency it really beats my imagination, and I expect these guys to actually call themselves now and say, you know what? It has gotten to this point. We need to ask ourselves the questions.
Yes.
Do we want to play at the World Cup in our lifetime? What would it mean for our legacy? Well, because it means that if they do not go to the World Cup,
a chunk of them will have
that will be the end. Now let's talk about Victor Osimhen, Bolu. The impact of a Victor Osimhen in this team. You really can overemphasize the level of commitment he brings to the green and white colors. And we saw that at its very best in that game against Lesotho. We needed him to step up, and he took that game on himself and he won it for Nigeria.
You may or may not like the man, you may or may not like his attitude, but you can't take away what he does on the field of play. That's why I tell you, separate the art from the artist.
Yes.
Osimhen's personal beef or whatever is off the field and all, But as a football player, Osimhen will probably bleed on the field for Super Eagles.
Yes.
He knew what he needed to do. And again, kudos to Adam Zako.
Oh, yes.
He took players away from Osimhen. You know, he is fast, and so he was taking players away. And Osimhen's positioning was all we needed in that game. He opened the space for the opening goal. Boom, got into the channel. The first goal, the others, he created the space for himself. The third goal felt like he was not going to score. The Beninois player held him with his life, but he still fought hard to hit the ball. That's passion, that's drive, that's vibe. That's someone who wants to give everything to make sure things work out well. Like I said, you may not like his personal attitude. That's between you and him. But as a football player, as a top 9, there are probably few players in the world better than Osimhen in that position. I love the hunger. Even if it doesn't work out well, you know, if you are singling out players that, it didn't work out well because of 1, 2, 3, you will never call Osimhen's name. It's one of the reasons why we have a chance now to make it to the World Cup.
And I also believe that Eric Schell can put a bit more responsibility on Victor Osimhen.
Yeah.
In the sense that, call these guys. Because whether you like it or not, for any coach to thrive, for any coach to succeed, you need these players on your side.